Hello everyone, SalheartPAS here, bringing you a cast of a game that I played between myself, the red Protoss in the top left-hand corner, versus PaulWall, the blue Protoss in the bottom right-hand corner. So, something new we're doing in Wildcraft is we're going to start casting videos of our players, and we are going to upload them to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/KSU Wildcraft. We think it's a good way for our players to not only gain some experience having their videos being casted, but also just to gain some notoriety for Wildcraft itself and showcase the player's talent. So this map is Ohana, which I think is one of my favorite PvP maps. Obviously, if you want to do any sort of robo expands, it's very easy to wall this off. Even this ramp here is pretty easy to defend. You do have the backdoor rocks here right by your natural, so you do have to watch out for that. And the third is also, while the area is wide, it's pretty easy after you take these rocks down to secure that third. Now let's go ahead and look over at PaulWall. I'm just going to call him Paul for the sake of the cast. He, as you saw earlier, was scouting around with this probe, so he was very, very, very concerned about something happening, such as the 2-gate proxy, which is very common on the map. They'll throw a pylon here, maybe here, then put 2 gates in front of it, and you cannot kill the pylon. It makes it very hard to defend. Sourd, on the other hand, I don't remember. I don't think I scouted at all, which is probably bad because, again, he could have 2-gate proxy. But I did see the probe, and I didn't think anything fishy was going on at that point. Paul is also scouting pretty early, which is to me a little bit weird because in PvP you really can't tell anything. Even at this point, my scout might be a little too early about what the opponent is doing. I see one gas, and all I can really tell from that is that he has either not thrown his gas down or he's going with some sort of gateway pressure. Now I do notice the chronos are being used, so I'm assuming probably not any sort of pressure build. Paul's going to go ahead and get his first zealot right away, whereas Salhart's going to delay that and probably in favor of a second gas earlier on. That's what I normally do just because, I don't know, a lot of Protoss, unless I can tell that they're going very heavy gateway aggression, there's no reason for me to get that first zealot. Sometimes I might even wait for the stalker. And Paul's coming back in to check what he can see, and really he's not going to see a lot. He's going to see the second gas going up so he can rule out any sort of gateway pressure, but he can't really determine what else is going on because, you know, 2 gas is necessary for a Twilight Council build, Dark Templar, Stargate, any sort of robo build. Like 2 gas, unless it's a really fast expansion, usually means, you know, something pretty significant. Now 2 harvesters on each gas for Salhart, doing that kind of Korean style. Just because you don't need as much gas for the robo, which is now going down, by the way. Paul's going to go ahead and secure that watchtower. I would like to see both players go ahead and move out. Salhart, I should really honestly move out with this stalker and at least, you know, check the watchtowers, scout for some pylons. I normally do that. I guess this game I just wasn't as focused. I am spending a lot of time microing the pro. Let's go ahead and check the APM. Yeah, I'm an APM spammer, as you can tell. But, you know, I think it's good practice for mechanics, so I try to keep it up as much as possible. Paul is going to go for a 3-gate, what looks like expansion, because it definitely doesn't seem like he's going to pressure. Now, he has 3 on each gas, which I find a little bit strange unless he's going to get a very fast Twilight Council, which should have thrown down at this point. He is going to get the extra stalker, which I've chosen not to. I'm just going to go ahead and throw down my expansion there, and now I'm going to check the proxy locations with this probe, which is a really good idea, honestly. I mean, there's no reason not to check any of these locations. I even could check down here and around here. Like, I do a pretty good job, but I don't know. I'm throwing down 2 extra gates on top of this robo, so I did a 1-gate robo expansion, which is probably the most economical build you could do as Protoss. Whereas Paul went for the 3 gates first, then the robo, and he still hasn't really thrown his expansion down. So he's playing very safe, which is fine because in the current PvP metagame, it's very typical for Protoss to go heavy aggression, whether it be, especially on this map, it's a pretty good blink stalker map. Not the best, I guess, but I think you can still blink in here. I know you can surely warp in on the high ground there, so there's some cool, you know, tactics there. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a proxy pylon here. Which, I don't know, it's not the best location. I mean, I can warp in on the low ground, which is nice, but I can't. I don't know. If an army comes up here, they're gonna see this. It's very unlikely they won't. It looks like Paul's getting ready to take his own expansion, but Salhart, it's already done. So that's really, really far behind for Paul. Probably playing a little too safe, not reading me correctly. He's going to go ahead and get an observer first, which is good so we can see what's going on. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and check the units tab. It looks like Paul is ahead in probe, so I've been slipping on my probe production. But I want to catch up very quickly with the double probe production. But Salhart does have a slightly bigger army. 16 to 11, and he is going to try to get the stalker here, but those are kind of wasted force fields. I mean, these will regenerate, it's just energy, but if Paul was to push in now, Salhart really would have no way of force fielding very many units. He'd have one force field, and that's not a lot. Salhart's going to go ahead and get his second and third, or sorry, third and fourth gas, as well as start getting out that observer. And look at the timing here. It's actually really unfortunate for Paul. Paul's going to come in here with this observer right as Salhart's observer comes out. Meanwhile, Salhart not really revealing anything, throwing down, 2 extra gateways, and look, as soon as it comes out, it's spotted. So this observer is going to die right off the bat, which is a huge win for Salhart. Meanwhile, the robotics bay is going down for Paul, as well as an extra gate. He's getting out another observer, and instead, Salhart's going to go ahead and go for a Twilight Council, and then that forge. So Salhart's going to favor upgrades and getting a slightly later robotics facility. The reason I do this is because while faster Robo Bay means you're going to have faster Colossus, if you have charge slots and upgrades, as well as a decent amount of Immortals, usually if they push out with 2-3 Colossus, it's not going to really do a ton of damage. What really sucks is late game PvP when you have to have a lot of Colossus, because 9 Colossus does significantly more damage than 2. The splash is just exponential as far as the growth there. Looks like Salhart's going to come down here with a probe. Probably going to do some scouting, maybe throw down a proxy pylon. Meanwhile, he's pushing these stalkers off the watchtower and also scouting and only seeing a third, not a fourth gas, which is kind of strange. If you're going to go for a robo build, you want to have all the gases. Also, extended thermal lance is not even on the way yet, but neither is it. It's not on the way for Salhart either, who just got momentarily supply blocked. And it looks like now Paul's going to go ahead and throw down that forge. But if you look at the units tab, I mean, the armies are basically, actually not really. If you look at it, the only advantage Salhart really has is in Immortals. But because he got the expansion faster, he's going to